Tonight on Lowdown, we're taking a look at career services. We'll talk to someone about an organization, UTAA, and we'll talk to some very special students working on an incredible project. That and more coming up next. Hello, and welcome back to Lowdown, a show by the students here at the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg. First up, we'll look at some events and marketing management students that are working on a very special project supporting RISE, a local organization here in Warrensburg. Second, we'll take a look at career services and how they can help you as a student. And third, you'll learn a little bit more about the old guy standing in front of you. Take a look. Hi, we're with RJ Appleberry, who is the Technology and Design Manager for Puzzle Palettes, and we'll kind of get into what that is during our interview. We're with Caitlin Harrison, the Marketing Director for Puzzle Palettes. We're with Isabel Anderson, the Client and Community Relations Director for Puzzle Palettes. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I am from Lee Summit, Missouri. I've been here for a few years. I will graduate this fall, so I'm first semester senior. It's weird, it's exciting, but ultimately I'm looking forward to it. I am the Technology and Design Manager, so it's kind of twofold. It's half technology, half design. So as far as technology goes, I am going to be in charge of making the Zoom, making the breakout rooms, making sure that all the different people are where they need to be. I'll be doing a lot of the troubleshooting actually during the event, as well as taking the role of Master of Ceremonies and doing like the introduction and then the closing remarks as well. And then as far as design goes, I have been doing a whole bunch of blueprints, talking to my dad, talking to Jill from Warrensburg Main Street, just kind of getting everything that we need to do the actual construction figured out.
So my name's Caitlin Harrison. As you said, I'm the Marketing Director for Puzzle Palettes. So I handle all the social media and that kind of stuff. I'm a senior at UCM majoring in events marketing and management, and I'm from Bates City, Missouri. I really would like to go into like social events or maybe like do some nonprofit work for an organization. I really would like to plan my own events. That's like my end goal, and maybe create my own business, but I'd like to stay local.
So I'm a senior events marketing and management major here at UCM. I'm originally from Harrison, Arkansas. My role in the Puzzle Palettes event is client and community relations, as you said. I work directly with our client. I send them emails, whatever any of our team members have to say to our client, I direct that, so I'm kind of the liaison. And then I talk to the community, so whatever sponsors we need, I will call businesses and ask for donations.
And this is a great project. Can you just tell me a little bit about the project?
Absolutely. So at its core, it's a virtual paint-along. It's kind of like a paint and sip, but without the sip, and you're at home on your couch or wherever you want to paint from. But the idea is that once everyone paints their individual tiles, we will fire them in a kiln, and then we'll construct them into the autism ribbon, and then we will mount that mosaic on Colton Street, and everyone can look at it for years to come.
Can you tell me why you think the RISE organization is important?
Well, so I've gone there several times to like get some content to post on social media. They're just phenomenal. You know, they help people with developmental disabilities and that kind of stuff, and they're just being in their environment. You know, you see their social media, but that doesn't really explain the character behind them. They're just all really kind people, and they're great to work with, and they're trying to strengthen those vocational skills and eventually maybe go into the job environment one day. But I think that they're phenomenal to raise awareness about, because their mission's a great cause, and they just have great individuals behind their organization.
Can you tell me one thing that you think you're like the biggest lesson that you've learned from being involved in this project and the classes that are associated with it?
Probably the biggest lesson I've learned is you can't expect perfection. You know, there's always going to be something that comes up, whether it's something you did, whether it's something that a vendor did, or something, whatever it is. Global pandemic, that too. So always be prepared. You know, even if you are 100%, you've got a contingency plan, there's always going to be something to go wrong, and it's really about adapting and adjusting in the best way possible.
I have learned very many things, but I think at its core is to trust the people that you work with. There's only 5 of us, so it's a pretty small team to put on something this large, but I think we all recognize that, you know, there is a lot of work and there's not very many people to complete it, so it's not like someone can just hide and, you know, not actually do their part.
But what's your favorite experience just by visiting with going to RISE?
Well, I actually just went there last week to interview some individuals there, and I was going to interview this one individual. His name's Keith, and I actually ended up interviewing him and his wife as well, and it was really sweet because they both, you know, they're there all the time, so they get to spend that time together, and they were just really sweet interacting, and he was just doting on her the whole time. I'm like, this is what I want in life. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. So that was really my favorite thing, to really see the people that we are raising awareness for and benefiting in the long run.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to share about the project, about RISE itself, even about the class?
Kira's the best. Love her. She's a rock star.
For more information about the RISE organization, go to their Facebook page at Puzzle Palettes Event.
Hello, we're here today with Amber Gorham, the Director of Career Services, today to talk to us about the professional clothing studio here on campus. So first of all, Amber, can you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure. So like you said, my name is Amber Gorham. I'm the Director of the Career Services Center. I've been on campus. I actually am a 2-time alum from UCM, so I got my undergrad in 2004 in Management and Human Resource Management. I was also a part of the Jenny's Bowling program here, so I was a part of the 2003 National Bowling Championship team. And then I just never left. I originally grew up in the state of Texas, came up here because of bowling and got recruited to be on the Jenny's Bowling program. And when I graduated in 2004, I got the opportunity to work in a different department on campus. I started out at the Missouri Center for Career Education. I was there for about 4.5 years, and then I transitioned into career services in 2008. I started as a career development coordinator. Was in that role for about 4 years, and then got the opportunity in 2012 to move into the interim director role, and then did that for about a year, and then have been fortunate enough to stay director for career services. So love what I do. I love being here at UCM, and you know, it was one of those things, came up here for school and then never left. Yeah. Been here ever since.
So can you tell us what you guys offer at the Career Service Center?
Sure. So, you know, career services, I mean, I think when you think about our mission and vision of our office and what we strive to do every day for students, it's really kind of twofold. It's really being able to help students figure out what they want to do and what's going to be their path to get there. And then also connecting them to opportunities. So, you know, educate and connect are really the two words that come to mind. That educational piece of helping them think about what are their options and how can they actively pursue those options, while also putting together the pieces that they need to be successful. So, you know, getting their resume put together, helping them with their interviewing skills, helping them think about what to wear for an interview. Also just job searching in general, right? Whether that's you're trying to find a part-time job in the community, or even an on-campus job, or an internship, or full-time job, or hey, I'm going to be going on to grad school after my undergrad experience. Like all of those things are things that our office can help with. And then at the same time, then trying to provide those connections, you know, connecting students to different employers within a variety of industries, connecting students to different graduate or professional schools, if that's kind of the next path. So really, when I think about the work that we do, that's really at the forefront of our minds. And then just, we have a great staff. We have a great staff that's very passionate about working with students and helping students. In addition to our full-time professional staff, we also have our WISE coaches. We offer a walk-in studio experience for our students. So students can actually come into our office any day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and a WISE coach is available to help them on all those things that I mentioned: resumes, cover letters, application materials, job searching, all of those kind of things. But in addition to our WISE coaches, we also have career advisors. And so you can meet with your career advisor as well. They have more dedicated timeframes that they meet with students on a weekly basis. And so there's that opportunity as well for for students to get connected to those individuals. And in addition, we offer a career readiness course. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but we offer our career advisors who actually teach a career readiness course. We have 2 in-person courses as well as an online course. And if you really want to deep dive into all of the career development related type things and topics, that's a great course to take and get involved with as well.
All right, can you tell us, is it important at all grade levels to get involved, or what grade level it's most important to be involved in the Career Service Center?
Yeah, so I mean, we're definitely an advocate of starting early, you know. Unfortunately, we do sometimes see those juniors and seniors that are coming in a little bit too late. So I always say, and we always say, you know, start early. Sometimes I know as a freshman, you might think, gosh, I don't need to do that. I've got 4 or 5 years down the road. But the important piece is that if you start early, you give yourself plenty of time, especially if you are in a degree field that can lend to many different options. It gives you the opportunity to explore those options, and you know, definitely getting as much experiential education as you can. I mean, internships are important, practicums, field experiences, anything that's going to allow you to get that hands-on experience. One, that gives you an opportunity to try things, and 2, it helps you build your resume, it helps you gain those valuable experiences so that by the time you graduate, you can be as competitive as possible, and you know, you can find yourself in more of a successful situation post-graduation. So start early, come see us. If you have an opportunity within your schedule to take the career readiness course, I would definitely encourage students to do that as well. And don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to be curious. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, push yourself out of your comfort zone. Those are all things that I think can be very good steps that students can take that are going to help them be successful post-graduation.
Can you tell us what students should expect in the career readiness course?
Sure. So the career readiness course really gives students an opportunity to get their materials put together and prepared. So students will learn how to put together a resume, but then also even more importantly, how to target that resume. Same thing with their cover letter. That course also deep dives into graduate school and what that process looks like. And if students are thinking that could be an option for them, helping them understand how to explore programs and write a personal statement or a curriculum vitae. It also helps with the job searching aspect. There's a lot of conversations around how to network, how to put together your digital profile. So how do you get your LinkedIn put together? How do you get your Handshake put together? So one of the services that our office provides is Handshake, which is our online recruiting platform. So it helps students get familiar with that platform, helps students put together their profile, get their documents up on that platform. We also have the connection piece, so we encourage students to go to our career expos. You know, this past year was held virtually, but those students attended that and got an opportunity to connect with employers in that way. And then that course also focuses in on a lot of the soft skills, you know, so not only just the technical side of career development, but then we know employers are looking for those soft skills in terms of teamwork and communication and your written and verbal skills. And so the course focuses on those soft skills and helping students understand those skills and understand what their level of development is within those skills, and then how can they even continue to improve and grow in those areas.
Can you tell us where the Career Service Center is located?
Sure. So Career Services is located in Ward Edwards. We're actually right between admissions and financial aid, so Ward Edwards 1200. So pretty easy to find. You probably saw us, you know, when you came on campus for your tour or when you came as a prospective student. So yeah, easy to find in Ward Edwards, right there between financial aid and admissions.
All right, well, thanks for coming in and interviewing with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I was really excited to come in and visit with you and be a part of it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
We're here with Eric Yezel today, and Eric is a newest student producer here on the show, and he is a returning student. So, Eric, what did you originally come here to UCM to do, and how was that experience for you?
Well, originally, I was a transfer student from State Fair Community College, and it was 1988. It was a few years ago, and I finished my bachelor's degree in speech communication, and then I went on and got a master's in theater, and then I've taught theater ever since then. So I've taught and I'm retired as a theater instructor at State Fair Community College after 20 years there, and then 8 years I taught at Crowder College before that.
And what brought you back here?
You know, I've always been interested and I've always dabbled in digital video editing, so I really just wanted to learn more about it. I want to go into to learn more about putting things together from a documentary standpoint, as well as I think this is going to be a great experience to learn more about just the news end of it. So I'm just excited about learning more about digital video editing. I've always been a little bit of a nerd with technology, and everybody, my peers, a lot of times would say, well, I don't want to learn about Zoom, or I just want to do what it always was. And I was like, well, cool, let's just do that. Let's play with it. Let's throw in a video here or whatever.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so you've obviously been gone for a while. So what has been like the biggest change that you've seen being back here on campus?
Well, I think the biggest one, obviously, is the name. So it was
Yes.
Central Missouri State University, and now it's University of Central Missouri. They were just doing the renovations over in the Union when I graduated. So it was, it was a completely different building back then. There used to be a theater in there where we did dinner theater. It's still a stage in there now, but the bookstore was downstairs, and now there's a new building for the bookstore. So there's been tons of changes that have happened over
Lots
the
of
years.
expansions.
Yeah, lots of expansions. I think probably just some of the biggest things are just the modernization of everything, obviously. When I graduated from here, people still wrote on the boards. So,
Yeah.
and they wrote on their stone tablets, so that was pretty exciting
Of course,
too.
yes. So from my understanding, you're in a class now with a former student. How is that transition for you?
Yeah. It was fine. I've known Shannon Johnson, who teaches audio technology, sound technology. So I'm taking a class with him, and I think he's great as far as his knowledge of sound. But I don't know if I should share this or not, but actually I was a graduate assistant in 1991, I believe, when Shannon took the class. He now teaches public speaking, but he failed the class in 1991 because he never showed up to class. Now, eventually went on and did really well, but I just like to share that with him every once in a while.
Of course, yeah. Got to remind him.
But yeah, Shannon's a great guy. I've known him for a long, long time, and he's always, funny. He knows a lot about sound, so I really am looking forward to learning more.
Is it a hard transition coming back, with COVID going on and just being an older student in a classroom that's mostly, younger generation students?
To be honest with you, I think part of it is because I've taught college for so long, it wasn't a huge transition for me. I enjoy being in the classroom. I like it. And in some respects, it's, I won't say easier, but it's more interesting because I'm not necessarily, I don't worry about my grades. I just do my work and try to do the best that I can. And then I really want to focus in on just learning about what things the topics that I'm learning about in classes, rather than what's my grade going to be. Because the grade doesn't really matter to me, but the knowledge does matter to me. I really want to get better at digital video editing. I almost would like to get into some documentaries, that type of thing. So,
have you got any new methods that you've tried using for your learning experience, that you didn't really put into place whenever you were first here as a student?
Oh gosh. Well, since I was first here as a student, there was no such thing as digital video editing. We had reel-to-reel tapes, and I'm going to sound older and older while I go in here. I'm gonna have to, head out and take my Geritol before we're done. But I just think it's such a drastic change from what it was in 1992 when I graduated. It seems like it wasn't that long ago, but technology-wise, it's centuries ago. It seems like I think technology has changed so much, but even then, I was still, what technology we had, I still wanted to find out as much as I could about it. So, there have been tremendous changes in technology, but I've tried to keep up with that stuff. I think the biggest thing I've learned that I'm excited about is just learning about things that I instinctively knew as a theater person, but then you put it into digital video terms. And that's been the big transition for me. Is I always worked at blocking things on stage or putting movement on stage, so it had a stage picture. And now instead of trying to, everybody sees everything at one time, now I can use a camera and zoom into their eyebrows if I want to, or do something like that. So making the transition, that's been a challenge.
Is there anything you would say that you miss from like your first go around here, or would you say which one would you say is your favorite? Like first time around, second time around?
Gosh, there's so many great things from the first time around that, but even now I enjoy the classes. I mean, I'm really just starting. I took some classes in the fall, took a couple classes in the fall, and I'm taking 2 classes now. I think there's great things about both experiences. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm a little older, not necessarily more mature, but I'm older than
Maybe
I was
wiser?
now. And there's no such. I don't think it's wiser. I just think it's just older.
Just older.
Yeah, I don't know if it's wiser. I just think I have a different view though. Going back as a student, there's some things that I wish I could take from teaching, and I probably will end up teaching again in some aspect. But that I'd take as getting back in the classroom has been a really kind of cool experience doing that.
Any other? Well, thanks for telling us about your experience here, and I look forward to working with you.
Well, thanks. Me too. I'm looking forward to it.
Hi, I'm sitting down with Sabrina Ortiz to talk a little bit about underrepresented theater artists and allies here at UCM. So first off, could you tell us a little bit about UTAA? What is it?
Yeah, so UTAA is Underrepresented Theater Artists and Allies. We are a group that meets twice a month to discuss issues in our department and in our industry. So really, we're just a space that's safe for people to talk about how they're feeling and the issues that they see, not only in our department and our shows, but in our industry as a whole.
So what inspired you specifically to start this organization?
Yeah, so last year, yes, a lot of my friends and I were talking about how we felt as people of color in our department in a predominantly white school. And we talked a lot about how we felt like we weren't really being heard no matter how much we talked, and we weren't being represented the way that we felt we should be represented. And at first I thought maybe this is just a UCM thing. Maybe this is something we just need to fix here. And then I went to KCACTF, which is Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival, and I sat in on panels, and I went to a diversity in theater panel, and it was crazy to me to hear that every other person was having these experiences too at their school. And that's when I realized it's not just my area, my friend group, my school issue, it's collegiate theater as a whole. And when collegiate theater has an issue, the theater industry has an issue.
So you just started this organization this year, right? So what are some things that you've been working on so far?
So this year we worked a lot specifically on having our voices heard in the department. We petitioned to have students be on the season selection committee, which ended up happening this year, which we are all very happy and excited about. We also petitioned to have more guest artists come that are people of color or other underrepresented groups. And we talked a lot to the faculty about the shows that we felt like we wanted to see and we wanted to be a part of. We also advised for the faculty to start putting cultural consultants on all of our shows to make sure that it's a safe environment for everybody.
The UTAA is actually planning on producing a show next year, right? Could you tell us a little bit about what shows you're looking at producing?
Yeah, so we are going to produce 35mm by Ryan Scott Oliver, and it is a musical that is little vignettes, little stories about these photos, and it's a small musical cast because, COVID, and it is directed by Gabe Livingston.
Is there anything else that UTAA is doing next year that we should all know about?
We do not have any guests planned yet, but we are trying to find underrepresented guest artists to come in and talk to us and make panels for next year.
All right, awesome. What are your hopes for the future of this organization?
I graduate in the fall, so I am nervous to say the least because I am a very outspoken person in our department, and I feel like something that is very important in this industry and in this department is to be outspoken about the things that are wrong and that need to change. So I am hoping that the torch passes on to people who are willing to talk about these things and willing to make people uncomfortable, because change doesn't happen unless you're uncomfortable. I'm hoping that UTAA will continue to produce a show each fall, and I'm hoping that we're able to bring in guest artists and go to conventions.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's 2021, and there are still several marginalized groups of people who are underrepresented in the entertainment industry, especially in theater. What are some steps that need to be taken to ensure that the theater community is a lot more inclusive? And what can we do here at UCM to make it more inclusive?
Get underrepresented people at the table. Nothing changes if it's a bunch of white, old, cis men at the table speaking upon everybody else's behalf. It's one of those things where we have to listen to the people who are underrepresented and not speak for them, which is a problem that our industry has a lot of the times. And we need to start not only saying, okay, what do you want, but putting people at the head of organizations. Having more faculty of color, specifically at UCM, is something that we really need because there's only one person of color on our faculty, and they are interim, which means that they don't have as much as a voice for us. And everybody needs to be represented, not only in our student body, not only on the posters and the flyers that we put out, but as a whole. It needs to be represented from the student to the faculty to the people in our audiences.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me, Sabrina. This was a great discussion, and I can't wait to see what UTAA does next year.
Thank you, Holden.
I hope you enjoyed that glimpse into university life here in Warrensburg. Unfortunately, that's all the time we've got for tonight, but never fear, you can get the show in its entirety or individual segments on the KMOS TV YouTube page. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Yazel. Good night.